Jonathan introduce himself. All right, Jonathan, thank you very much. Do you want to introduce your topic?
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a second. I'm going to share my screen and pull up the slides. Everybody seeing how to crush your next interview
Crush
slide?
it. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for the intro. All right. I think we were talking about this on our one-on-one, I think, actually. We're talking about Candorful, and Alan hadn't heard of it, and he asked me to kind of give a little presentation together. And I was putting it together, and I said, well, why don't I just kind of give, hey, so here's some 5. That way, the clicks or things that people click on, blog posts with numbered sequences or things that get you angry. That's what people drive their attention. So a numbered sequence is also one of them. And so here's my 5 things to do to preparation tools to crush your next interview. These are 5 free ones, right? And there's the asterisk there because they're not just free to veterans, but we'll get into detail. Some of them are free to just about everybody. So no rocket science here, but I think all of us like to be prepared when we go in for an interview. And I found these to be useful as I prepared myself from never doing an interview before to, now interviewing pretty frequently. So there we go. Tools to crush your next interview. So, the ones we'll look at are Candorful, Betterati, Google's interview warmup, the LinkedIn interview, and we'll talk a little bit about how to use AI or ChatGPT or whatever your preference is for artificial intelligence and how to prepare yourself for an interview. All right, so first off, and the one that kind of got me in this briefing today is Candorful. So Candorful is a website that has a group of volunteers who have in some experience in hiring, and that experience can vary. And so most of them are full-time professionals in a hiring manager type of position. And as a veteran, you are provided 3 free interviews. You can go out and find people that can kind of test your interview skills, and they know that when you sign up for Candorful that you're going to go out there and look to practice interviews. And so if you're literally just looking to build your interview skills, it's a great place to start. I use this service. I use my 3 free interviews probably a year ago. And they kind of have a time window. They want you to use up the interviews. I think they want to have you practice one, get some feedback within the next couple of weeks, practice it again, and within the next couple of weeks, practice it again. And you get to kind of choose the interview coaches that you think work best for you. You can ask for more interviews if you need it. Otherwise, you can make donations to continue to get more of them. And the coaches have a pretty wide-ranging group of backgrounds, so you can get some pretty good depth and a breadth of experience. But limitations are there's only three interviews are going to be available to you. So a little bit of a limit, but it is a good resource. It's free for veterans. I'll post this PDF to the well, Alan's already providing the websites for us there, but I'll post the PDF and it has the websites at the cyberlink. All right, next up is Betterati. Hopefully you have all heard of this one. This is a great resource for those people who are just starting to network. If you don't even know where to start your network, I know everybody kind of goes out and makes their LinkedIn page. Betterati makes it even easier, right? As a veteran, it is a very simple way to go out and grab a mentor. You can filter by specific experiences or locations or industries, and they're waiting for you to contact them, and they have their schedule pre-built in there. You don't need to send any, hi, nice to meet you, and I just retired and I'd love to chat. You don't need to do any of that. You just go out and click on their names. They schedule a time for you. Betterati pulls you two together in a phone call. You get a chance to ask them anything you want to, right? You can say, hey, I really want to be a CEO. How do I got to do that? I just left the Army and I don't know how to spell. What should I do, right? Like literally you can ask the breadth of questions. I have tried to use this for practice interviews. And my approach was, as I was interviewing for a nonprofit, I wanted to talk to people in the nonprofit space and then have them provide input and hopefully run through a practice interview in the scope of nonprofits. That worked okay. First, I think the scope of nonprofits is pretty broad, so every nonprofit probably has their MO of practice. And I think the people I reached out to maybe didn't have the experience in interviewing that I was looking for. So it's a great resource for overall mentoring, networking. Maybe not perfect for practice interviews, but you can definitely ask the mentors to do that. And some of them, especially if you're finding somebody like a VP level or somebody you for sure know is in a hiring manager position, probably have some good experience to share with you. All right, the Google interview warm up, right? Who it's for? If you're just looking to do a warm up, right? So if you're sitting in the car in the parking lot of 3M, you're waiting to walk in, and you just want to like make sure you're at 100%. This is a great tool for that. It's free. You just literally Google, hey, I want to do an interview warm up, and poof, you'll get 5 interview questions. They have about, I think, 10 categories they're broken out into, but they're going to be the general, tell me about yourself, you know, the pretty standard questions. And the unfortunate thing is there isn't any method of feedback, right? You're literally just talking into your phone, and it makes it into text. So then you could review the text version of it. But again, super easy to use, free, and you can do it kind of as your practice before you're going to make that phone call or get that phone call or walk into the building, anything like that, so that you're kind of warmed up and ready to go. You're kind of thinking through things. Me personally, I would use this as kind of like I said, probably the hour before I'm going to do an interview, and then I'm going to take those initial questions and going to jump off on the things I think they're going to ask, and I will tell you like how do I figure out what I think they're going to ask. Well, I'll show you. All right, so then we talked about this I think 3 weeks ago now, probably maybe even 4, and that's the LinkedIn interview prep, right? So who's this for? This is for anybody who's looking for like the ability to practice whenever they want to, so you don't have to coordinate with anybody else. But you can also share it with others. So this is, you're actually going to talk into your video camera. You're going to answer, I think they have about 25 or so questions on there. It's a pretty decent amount. And then it's neat, you can literally send the link or the video to somebody you're connected with on LinkedIn and say, hey, what do you think about this answer? Did I do a good job elaborating on it? What could I do better? Those kinds of things. All right, bad part is, you got to have the LinkedIn Premium. Yes, I know veterans get it free for a year, but you still have to have it. At least for the positions I'm hiring for, all the questions that I've received have been either behavior-based or experience-based, right? Tell me about a time when. These have tended to be less of those, but there are some behavior-based in there, just not the entirety. So get what's your greatest strength? What's your greatest weakness? Why should we hire you? It's a pretty good tool. All right, so segued into the AI ChatGPT. I'm a Bard guy myself, just because I got a bunch of Google stuff and I'm just going to sync them together eventually. All right, who's it for? If you're preparing for a specific interview, I think this is a great tool. ChatGPT is, or AI is a great place to get there. So an example question be, give me 5 potential interview questions from this job posting. So you see on the little picture there, that's the interview I had yesterday. Can you give me these 5 questions? You can add levels of specificity, right? So I want them to be around this area, or try to you could potentially even ask them, based on this job posting and my resume, could you come up with 5 questions for an interview? Like I said, you can add specificity in industry, the company, position, and then you can even ask it, hey, could you give me a preferred response from question number 3? So if you don't have, like, hey, I don't have an example of building and managing high-performing teams, what would that sound like? What areas would that touch on? So you can get a little bit deeper in using the artificial intelligence that maybe isn't something you're thinking about, or at least can help you outline some of your answers, right? So cons, you're not going to get any real life human feedback, and it's not recordable. Like if you least I don't think there's an ability to record it directly into the computer. You probably could do a voice to text and then input that as an answer, and it could give you some level of critique. But I think there's so much more to your answer, to include your voice inflection, all those kinds of things that are just as important. So, all right, well, that is 5 tools to crush your next interview, and so like those are all linked right there. And what my personal preference is a lot of practice, right? You've been in an interview somewhere or another at this point in time. What do you think you did well? Like I always ask for feedback. I also take opportunities to do any interviews I can. Even this week, I got to interview with Slalom Consulting. It was definitely not hiring right now because they just laid off 7% of the workforce. But I got a chance to interview with a recruiter there, and hey, give me your feedback. What do you have? I'm just trying to hone this skill because I don't want my interview skills to be a barrier to employment, which I think all of us are in kind of that same boat. All right, and so practice is important. Find a way to do it. And I think these tools can all kind of be in your repertoire of things that can make your interview skills better. Hopefully you weren't expecting anything more than that. Pretty cut and dry.